up a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the DFS bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. DFS sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. DFS bachelor, he the new leader. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host, the DFS Bachelor, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings NBA slate for Tuesday, February 11th. It's a 5-game slate, so I've got like a top 4 at each position here, early in the morning. First things first, cheers to you all, man. I love you all. I really do appreciate all your support, making me a part of your day, listening to my stupid-ass voice. I really do appreciate it. Thank you all so much. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the team. Be sure to hit subscribe down below if you're so inclined to do so. Get access to all of our content, Fantasy Draft NBA, FanDuel DraftKings NBA, XFL, etc. Lots and lots of stuff. Over the All-Star break, we will be having our Window Liquor Award Show, our second annual Window Liquor Award Show. Really proud of that. So I do need one thing from you guys. There have been an awful lot of sex tape titles over the past few months. And of course, that has to be a category. So I need your nominations for best sex tape titles that we've had on the show. Comment with them in the comment section. If you follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor, here in the next few days, I'm going to start doing a poll with the categories and the nominees. And then you guys are going to get to decide who wins the award, not me this year. So a little change there. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hit subscribe. I truly appreciate all of that. Also, by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway sponsored by Draft Dashboard. All you have to do to qualify is like the video, subscribe, comment, blah, blah, blah. Draft Dashboard, I don't know what the hell's going on. My brain is melting, it feels like. Draft Dashboard is a site where we're going over all the stats, usage, history versus opponent, points per dollar, points per minute. You can set your exposures here for the mass lineup generator, generate your lineups exactly how you want them, lineup optimizer, etc. You can get access to this tool as well as my player pool for every major sport simply by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. And don't forget, I came so close. I thought I was winning the jackpot in Overlay DFS last night. Overlay DFS is a lot of fun. It's a different kind of refreshing fantasy site. Smaller, you're not competing against a ton of people. There's no mass entries. There's none of that. You're just picking head-to-head matchups, and how your record does in those head-to-head matchups determines how you win. It's a lot of fun. Go to overlaydfs.com. I know right now they have a 50% deposit bonus going on, so check them out. You can download the app in the Apple iTunes Store, or if you're using Android, go to the site overlaydfs.com and you can check them out. It is a lot of fun. I will have some images up to show you some different things once I get them transferred to my computer. I have yet to do so, and I got to make sure that YouTube will allow me to do that without putting you back in YouTube jail. It's got to be very careful nowadays with these fickle bitches over at YouTube. So that is that. So let's get started. Is there anything else? I feel like I am forgetting something, but I don't know. Still working on the website. The website will be up soon too. There'll be merchandise and spreadsheets. There's going to be all sorts of stuff. DFSbachelor.com. It is certainly not ready yet. Right now it says I was raised by orcas. I don't know what the hell. My buddy Jeff likes to have a little fun with that. So that is that. So let's get started. Let's start at point guard. First for me at the top, Damian Lillard. 9-8 on FanDuel, 10-3 on DraftKings. New Orleans allowing the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing point guards. It's a paced-up game for Portland on the road. I think Damian Lillard has a big game tonight against New Orleans. I love that play tonight. Next for me, Chris Paul. 7-4 on FanDuel, 6-8 on DraftKings. We finally now, it seems like DraftKings has softened their prices, and FanDuel's being a little bit more stingy. It's been going back and forth all year long. I mean, what are you going to do? But I like Chris Paul, 7-4 and 6-8. San Antonio, 23rd against opposing point guards. It's a back-to-back for San Antonio, the only team on the slate playing a back-to-back. When you look at his history versus his team, 38, 31, 33, 38. He's been playing really well. The usage is there. I like Chris Paul a lot tonight. I do like Kemba Walker as well at 7-1 on FanDuel. I think that's a nice price for Kemba Walker there. at 7-1. Next, a little bit of a revenge narrative with big upside against a team who struggles against point guards. I like Thomas Satoransky. He's 5-5 on Fanduel. He's 4-9 on DraftKings. Washington, 25th against opposing point guards. Of course, he played with Washington the last couple of seasons before coming to Chicago this year. No Chris Dunn, extra usage, etc. A 34 and a 31 in his first 2 games against his former team. I expect more of the same. Love his price. I think Thomas Satoransky can really exceed value tonight. And if we're looking for some value, I do like Derek White. He only played 18 minutes in the front end of the back-to-back while Dejounte Murray played 33. DeMar DeRozan was a late scratch. Fucking window licking him and Kelly Oubre. Malcolm Brogdon, massive window licker yesterday. My God. Just fucking tongue stuck to the windshield. But Derek White should play more minutes on the back end of a back-to-back. 4-2 on FanDuel, 4K on DraftKings. Oklahoma City is 15th against opposing point guards. Look at his last 5 games against Oklahoma City. A 28, then he did have a 14, and then the other 3, a 37, a 27, and a 48. Nice spot for Derek White. Like the value. I could certainly go there tonight as well. Let's go to shooting guards. Of course, don't forget, follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor throughout the day. There's a million, doesn't matter how many games there are, there's just a million injuries and rest and bingo night with mom and Kawhi Leonard's case, all the bullshit, that comes along with that. So follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. I have all the news up there. At shooting guard, of course, James Harden, 11-3 on FanDuel, 11-4 on DraftKings. Now, Boston is first in the league against opposing shooting guards, which comes as no surprise. Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, excellent defenders on the perimeter. But that doesn't really affect James Harden. His last 5 against Boston, nothing less than a 52. Couple of 60 sprinkled in there. Of course, James Harden at home in a good spot tonight, if I could speak. Small ball for Houston is the new recipe there with PJ Tucker playing center. Next for me, I like Zach LaVine against Washington. 9K on FanDuel, 8-2 on DraftKings. Washington, 25th against opposing shooting guards, a 49, a 44, and a 40 in his last 3 against Washington. Paced up game for Chicago. Bad defense. He's a little nicked up, but he's supposed to play. Zach LaVine has been playing very, very well as of late. I like Zach LaVine a lot. Next for me, Jrue Holiday. Now, this is more if Brandon Ingram sits. Now, they're saying they're hopeful that he plays tonight, but he did not practice yesterday. So that's something to keep an eye on. If Brandon Ingram's out, the usage rate for Jrue Holiday goes up, even with Zion Williamson there. He's 7-4 on FanDuel, 7-9 on DraftKings. Portland, 22nd against opposing shooting guards, 37, 38, 40, and 3 of his last 4 against Portland. I like Jrue Holiday a lot tonight. And then down here for some value, there's quite a few good value plays. Fucking Korkmaz has been going fucking ham. Now, Alec Burks should debut for Philly. You would think Josh Richardson's minutes would go up, so I think it's a little murky. I know he's got back-to-back monster games, but I'm not sure I could go there. If Brandon Ingram's out, guys like Josh Hart, JJ Redick are underpriced. And more importantly, if DeMar DeRozan sits out tonight, Lonnie Walker IV, 3,500 on FanDuel, 3K on DraftKings, started for DeRozan last night. He's legit got 30, 40 point upside. He put up a 20 in 26 minutes last night at minimum salary against Oklahoma City. His last time out against Oklahoma City, he put up a 26. So keep an eye on that DeMar DeRozan situation, the back spasms, late scratch. He could be an interesting value. And I think if I'm playing 100 lineups, you got to think that Josh Richardson's minutes will start to creep over 20, back to 30 minutes. He hasn't played much in his first 2 games back from that hamstring injury, but he is super cheap, so it might be like a tournament flyer that you could take a shot at if you're playing multiple lineups. Let's go to small forwards. Small forward, Paul George, 8-4 on FanDuel, 8K on DraftKings. We know he's got 70-point upside. Philly is 4th against opposing small forwards. Paul George plays well against Philly, 54, 52, 39, and a 42 in his last 4 versus Philly. I like Paul George a lot tonight. I don't project him to be highly owned. Right now, he's only projected at like 3% ownership. We'll have to see if that increases throughout the day. It's only a 5-game slate after all, so that could certainly go up. Next for me, a little revenge narrative against his former Clipper teammates, Tobias Harris. 6-4 on FanDuel, 6-2 on DraftKings. The Clippers are 5th against small forwards. Paul George, Kawhi Leonard going to be there. He only put up a 15 his last time out against him. He's been wildly inconsistent this year. But any player that you're getting in the low 6s with 40-point upside, you have to have a consideration for them. Two, it's a pace down game for the Clippers, but it should be a competitive, good game between two contenders from separate conferences. At home for Tobias Harris, I do think he's got a shot to play well tonight as well. Right below that, I like both Gordon Hayward and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown is expected to suit up tonight. Keep an eye on the Jaylen Brown situation. But Houston allows the most points in the league to opposing small forwards. 6'3 on FanDuel, 6'9 on DraftKings. Nothing great in his last two games against Houston, a 26 and a 20, but again, the matchup is there. A smaller team, the rebounding should be there for Gordon Hayward, etc. I expect Boston to play a lot of small ball, so you could see Hayward playing some 4 or 5 tonight against a small Houston team. Rebounding should be there. All the points should be there. I like Gordon Hayward a lot. Some outside consideration for Danilo Gallinari against a Spurs team who struggles against small forwards as well. For some value, as low as I'm going is Troy Brown at 4.5 there. There's just not a lot down here that excites me, but I do like Chandler Hutchinson. 4.6 on both sites. Washington allows the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing small forwards. He's in the starting lineup. He's playing 30-plus minutes, showing that 30-point upside. In his last 5 games, nothing less than a 22. He's got a 33 and a 30 mixed in there. 4.6 on both sides. I think he's a solid play. Troy Brown right below that at 4.5 with big upside. 4.5 on FanDuel, 4.3 on DraftKings. Could be a nice value option as well. Let's go to power forwards. At power forward, Kawhi Leonard, 9.2 on FanDuel, 9.3 on DraftKings. We talked about Philly being 4th in the league against small forwards, but we also know that Kawhi Leonard chews up the Sixers. Think of last year's Eastern Conference Finals, etc. His last 4 against Philly, a 60, a 56, a 50, a 49. He's priced down in the 9s. I like Kawhi Leonard tonight. Always keep an eye when you're playing Kawhi Leonard. See if you can find any news. You know, if his mom wants to go to IKEA, he might sit the game out. He's a fucking weirdo like that. But he's a great player, probably the best player in the league, arguably. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you could argue LeBron, of course, and Giannis, etc. But Kawhi Leonard, he's the man. When he gets going, he can put up big, big, big numbers. Next for me, Zion Williamson. Portland allows the second most fantasy points in the league to opposing power forwards. He should be back from that minor ankle injury that kept him out on Saturday. 7.2 on FanDuel, 7.4 on DraftKings. Big upside. I like Zion. It's just anytime you can play against Portland's bigs, you do it. They just struggle defensively inside, especially at the 4. If they're throwing Carmelo Anthony or Trevor Ariza there, they have zero shot against Zion Williamson. It's going to be a long day for them trying to defend that freight train. My goodness. Quite a few solid plays here in the mid-range. Davis Bertans, Robert Covington, etc. There's some good plays there, but I like Thad Young against Washington. 5.6 on FanDuel, 5.3 on DraftKings. Washington 20th against opposing power forwards. 33, 31, 27, 24, 25 in his last 5 against Washington. That's basically what he does. You'll take that at 5.6 and 5.3. No complaints there. It is cheap for Al Horford, and the Clippers do struggle defensively up front. They're 25th against power forwards. Al Horford, look, you can see in his last 5 games, he's got a 35, a 26. He's also got an 11 and a 17. Here's another guy who's taken a big step backwards this year in terms of fantasy value and relevancy, which was to be expected going to a loaded Philadelphia team. It's cheap for him. He's got some upside, so for tournaments, I think Horford is fine. But I like Rui Hachimura, 5.3 on FanDuel, 4.8 on DraftKings. Back in the starting lineup, big upside, one of the main scoring options outside of Bradley Beal for that team. A 30 and a 27 his last couple of games. Chicago allows the most fantasy points in the league to opposing power forwards. I like Rui Hachimura quite a bit tonight. And then at power forward, there's just not a lot of value. Like, I will pass on everything below that. Just no thank you. Maybe Nerlens Noel, I suppose. Luke Cornett does start, can occasionally put up big numbers. He's got a 33 and a 29 in his last 5. In fact, his last 3 against Washington, 39, 41, and 27. But he can also go out there and shit the bed and give you a 7. So it is something to keep an eye on. So I suppose Luke Cornett would be the lowest I would go here at power forward. Again, make sure he starts. Make sure that they don't just throw Gafford into the starting lineup or etc. There's going to be crazy shit happening with the Bulls down the stretch. I can promise you that. Let's go to centers. At center, Joel Embiid at the top, 9.8 on FanDuel, 9.1 on DraftKings. The Clippers are 21st against opposing centers. In his last 4 games against the Clippers, 53, 61, 68, and 62. They just don't have anyone that can guard Joel Embiid. Zubac's not going to happen. Harrell, good luck. Try JaMychal Green if you want. Tough sledding. Joel Embiid should be able to dominate the Clippers up front. And more importantly, with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, if they both play, assuming they both play, they're excellent defensively on the wing, making it hard for guys like Simmons, possibly Tobias Harris, etc. So Joel Embiid could be leaned on even more heavily than normal. Should be a nice game for Joel Embiid tonight. Next, Steven Adams, 5-2 on Fanduel, 5-5 on Draftkings. The Spurs are 13th against opposing centers. More importantly, Steven Adams' minutes are back up in the 30s, high 20s, low 30s, after he was dealing with that injury the last couple of weeks. When you look at his last 5 against the Spurs, only one game less than a 31. He did have an 18 stinker, but he's also got a 39, a 35, a 40, and a 31 in that time. At 5-2 and 5-5, sign me up for some of that. A guy like Enes Kanter, I just think gets ran out of the building against Houston. Going to be tough for him to see the court. But for some value, there are a couple value guys. PJ Tucker is the starting center for Houston. Now, PJ Tucker can absolutely shit the bed, or he can go absolutely bananas. He's 4-3 on FanDuel, 4-4 on DraftKings. His last 5 against Boston, 3 games in the teens. He's got a 29 and a 25 as well. Anytime on a smaller slate like this, when a guy's going to play 35 to 40 minutes, if it's a close game at home, his shooting should be a little bit better at home. PJ Tucker, just based purely on minutes, got to consider him at that price. And right below that, a guy who I certainly like more than PJ Tucker, against the team allowing the most fantasy points in the league right now to opposing centers, Mo Wagner. 4-2 on FanDuel, 4-3 on DraftKings. We talked about Chicago struggling. He's in the starting lineup, going to play 25 minutes or so, put up a 32 in his last game in the starting lineup. I do like Mo Wagner for some value tonight. So that's our look at each position. Again, you can get access to all the research, the numbers that you hear, the stats, and my player pool to use in the lineup optimizer, mass lineup generator, etc. Simply by clicking that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, if you are looking for my player pool, which of course will expand throughout the day, there's the cheat sheet over here, the top plays from the slate, etc. You click that Watch Players tab. That'll be your watched players that you're including in your player pool. And if you have used my link, you'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks. You will also see a timestamp in Eastern Time underneath telling you when I last updated it, so you know if a player is hurt at 1:30 and you look at 1:40 and it shows that my player pool hadn't been updated since 10:40, then you know, okay, he hasn't updated for the news yet. So that's an important tool to use. I always am updating, especially that last 20 minutes before lock when news is just rapid fire. So that's something to keep an eye on. And then you can use my player pool in the lineup optimizer, use your own, the mass lineup generator, etc. Let's see. They spit out a lineup right here. This is not terrible, assuming that DeMar DeRozan is out. This is something that I do like. Chris Paul, Derek White, Walker, Jrue Holiday, Tobias Harris, Gordon Hayward, Hachimura, Kawhi Leonard, Joel Embiid. Now, if you want to pay up for Derek White and you don't necessarily want to pay for Tobias Harris, zero issues going down to Chandler Hutchinson there and then upgrading from Derek White. Get to Satoransky. Still have 1,000 on the table. So if you want to upgrade, almost can get to Zach LaVine. Lots of ways you can go. Click the link. Try it for 30 days for $1. Tons of different ways you can go. Again, Lonnie Walker, keep an eye on the DeMar DeRozan situation. Over here on DraftKings, it gave us Paul, White, Harris, Wagner, Adams, LaVine, Hayward, and Holiday. I don't mind that. Again, it's early, so a lot of things can change throughout the day. I think Hayward's a little priced up here on DK, to be honest with you. A guy like Thad Young at 5'3", then we can, kind of get away from this Derek White situation. I don't mind Derek White. Like I said, he's one of my plays tonight. It's just, see if we can make a sexier lineup here. Could try to make a James Harden lineup, but we really have to save. So a guy like Jrue Holiday, peace out. It's tough to fit him in. Satoransky at 4'9". You got Hutchinson at 4'6". We'll keep going through here. Hutchinson, Wagner at 4'3". What do we need to save? 1,000, huh? Could be Zach LaVine at 8'2". I do love that price. But a guy like you can go to SGA if DeRozan's healthy and playing, etc. Lots of ways you can go. Click the link, try it for 30 days. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Be part of our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. Don't forget to give Overlay DFS a shot if you want to try something a little different. 50% deposit bonus. I know they have like a slump buster bonus. If you lose a bunch of times in a row, they give you back your entry fees. Lots of cool stuff over there. So check out Overlay DFS if you want to try something different and kick my ass on a different site. There you go. I appreciate you all very, very much. Cheers to you all. May the fantasy gods be with you tonight. Good luck. We'll see you tomorrow for our NBA videos. And tomorrow, Thursday-ish, we'll have our XFL video out for the week as well. Try to tear that shit up again this week. We had a great opening weekend. Love you all. Thank you all again. Goodbye, folks.